Good day. Today is Sunday, December 4th, 2011. This is part 3 of my video series here on the game of the month for November 2011. Again, this is a game between Hikura Nakamura and Vasily Ivanchuk, or some people say Ivanchuk. And this was from the Tal Memorial round 7, the 6th Tal Memorial of this year, round 7, just completed in the month of November, and it was won by Carlson and Aroni, and I believe Carlson won the tournament on tiebreak. The game we're actually looking at is a game between Nakamura and Ivanchuk, and we stopped in part 2 with this last move. Black's last move was RFD8 here, and evaluation of the position is Black is clearly a little bit better here. He has a better position. He has his pieces are a little bit better organized. He has the 2 bishops and he has a pawn majority. But it's not an overwhelming advantage, and I do not think that Nakamura had to lose. In fact, I'm quite sure that Nakamura should not have lost this chess game. But he does go on to lose this game, and it's kind of sad in a way, but that's sometimes just what happens. But anyway, in this game, Nakamura goes on to lose, and we're going to pick up our analysis here at this point. White's next move is almost forced. Not 100% forced, but it's certainly a good idea logically. It's a top choice of several engines, but the main point being from a practical point is that after A3, at least White now can play a move like Queen B4, and his queen won't be trapped. And also, too, he doesn't have to worry about B4 kicking this knight and then maybe possibly losing the B2 pawn. So anyway, White plays A3. That stops the B4 idea. And here, Black plays rather H5. This is a nice move here because, in my opinion, it gives Black's king an extra square. And also there's ideas here of H4 hitting the bishop, gaining time, and maybe H3, corrupting corrupting White's entire kingside pawn formation, especially if he has to play a move like after H4, H3. White has to respond pawn takes pawn. These double isolated pawns over here, in my opinion, are worth almost nothing. So clearly White doesn't want to do that, and he basically, his next move is forced to stop Black from, carrying out his threat. White plays H3 again. That's to stop this pawn from itself, the Black pawn itself, from playing H4 and then H3 himself. So White prevents that. And now Black plays H4. I'm not sure if that was the correct move here. In fact, I believe Houdini and Fritz 12 both picked the move Bishop F5 here. That might have been a little bit better for Black. In fact, I'm sure that would have been clearly better. The basic idea here is that the rooks get exchanged, and we go into this endgame where basically, Black has a queen and the bishop pair and the mobile queenside majority, and it's might even work out eventually to a forced win for Black, but it certainly it looks to be a very possible improvement over the course of the actual game. But here Black plays H4, kicking the bishop, and that was a logical move. White's next move is completely wrong, and another surprise to me is that all the online annotators, this game has now been annotated online by several different players. 1FM has already done a video on it. Alejandro Ramirez did an analysis of this game for the ChessBase website. They did a slight analysis or a quick analysis of this game on the London Chess Center website for TWIC, etc., etc., etc. But the point is that none of the annotators that I have seen yet have pointed out that White's next move is probably actually a mistake, or certainly vastly inferior. The correct move here for White was just simply play the bishop to F4. That looks to be forced, and it looks to be like one of those only moves. White won't be losing material after G5 because he has the sneaky little shot of bishop C7, and the whole idea is Black's forced to take, but then White regains material by taking the bishop on F5. And so anyway, Black just played the move H4, attacking White's bishop. Again, the only correct reply here for White would have been bishop F4. However, Nakamura, for whatever reason, plays bishop H2. And this has got to be wrong. I mean, the computer's engines see it right away. They, the evaluations go way up for Black and way down for White, and the lights come on. And you can use any chess engine. You'll verify what I'm talking about here. But just from a common sense approach, you don't need to be a chess engine, and you don't have to have a chess engine, and you don't even need to be a master here to know that this move is wrong. It just simply from a common sense kind of view, the heavy pieces, White's heavy pieces, gets traded off, and any one rook or one set of rooks gets traded off. But if any heavy piece, queen or rook, penetrates to this first row with this bishop on H2, white has created a self-inflicted mating net. So that's got to be the, a very clear reason why that's not the correct move here. However, basically, Nakamura gets kind of lucky here because Ivanchuk does not find the right idea from this position. He should have played, I believe, bishop f5. That's what all the computer engines show as clearly better for black. The idea being to exchange the rooks maybe and leave him with this very horrible bishop. In fact, the idea is after bishop f5 is just all the rooks get traded here on d7. The black queen takes back on d7, and then black has the very clear threat of simply bishop takes and then queen d1 check, bishop takes knight on c3, followed by queen d1 check, and white will be mated if that happens. And the amount of gyrations that white must go through to avoid that continuation will basically give him a lost game. And again, you can analyze that all out with your chess engine if you're really interested. And again, Houdini and Fritz and all the chess engines I test, Crafty and Stockfish and several engines I tested on this position, they all seem to be in complete unanimous agreement that bishop f4 was 100% forced. But anyway, here that Nakamura played this move 25 bishop h2 here, and that was absolutely an error. And again, if Ivanchuk had found the correct continuation, Nakamura could have already been in a great deal of trouble after only 25 moves. But Ivanchuk played a kind of a random move here. I mean, it's not a terrible move. He plays king h7. Basically, the idea is, I believe, is to get the king out of trouble and avoid any possible checks and free up the king. But it has a lot of downsides too. The king can be more exposed here. The white can, some lines, take the h pawn with check, and also too the f7 pawn will be undefended in many variations, and that's going to be a critical factor later on. So king h7 is not a good move. In fact, Ramirez gives that move a dubious appellation here. In my opinion, that's overly harsh because king h7 doesn't throw away black's advantage completely. In fact, it doesn't even give black a bad position. So, while it may not be the best move here, I doubt if giving it the dubious or inferior appellation here was entirely correct. Because to me, black's position would have at least had to lose, say, 35 100ths of a pawn in value according to computer's evaluation, and that's not what happens here. But anyway, white plays a very nice move here. He plays the move bishop c7, and what this move does is forces off an exchange of rooks. Rooks come off, and also the bishops come off, and this is very good for white because obviously he just had a bad bishop on h2. As I explained, that was basically creating a mating net on white's own king. He had put his king in a very bad position there, and now he's able to escape that, and that's only because, inaccurate play by Ivanchuk. Bishop c7, rook takes c7. These next few moves are all forced. Rook takes d3, rook takes d3, and now black plays bishop to f6, and that's not a bad move here. Again, he's trying to slowly improve the position. I think one of the ideas here is maybe bishop f6 and then play his king to g7, and he's consolidating a little bit. His king is in a little safer position, and basically black does have a very nice position. He has one of those dream positions where you can just play to slowly improve your position, and white can almost do nothing here. I mean, he's got a short range knight, he's got a queen offside, he got a rook on an open file, but it doesn't have any penetration square or any obvious targets of attack, so it's really not doing anything right now. So black can just basically play to slowly improve his position and maintain a fairly decent and healthy advantage. The correct move here was 28 king g8, and that would have given black very clear advantage, putting the king back. But he played bishop f6 here, just very quickly bishop f6, 20 bishop f6, and now we very quickly go through some moves. White plays rook d2, rook d7. White has to play rook c2 here. That's forced. All the engines agree on this. Again, the idea is that if he exchanged rooks, this very powerful queen and this bishop on the long diagonal, these two pieces just work very well together. And white's queen is virtually almost completely out of the game. And also there's the idea of maybe queen d3 and bishop takes knight, and that will just totally shatter white's position. So basically, white cannot exchange rooks here. Again, continuing on with the game, white just played rook c2. Black played queen e6, slowly improving his game. And also there might have been another improvement here, is that king g7. Fritz and Houdini, once more, they agreed that this was better than the actual game continuation. And one of the key reasons is that many of the sub-variations, a lot of times white can take this f-pawn with check, but that will no longer be possible. and that's a very clear and marked advantage for black after king g7. But anyway, Ivanchuk played queen e6, queen b4, a5. That was an interesting move. I saw one annotator online already. He gave that move an exclam. I don't think an exclam is the correct move there. In fact, Ramirez has already noted, as I did, that rook d3 was a much better move here. That's an extremely a big improvement over the actual game. a5 is a nice little move to make because you make a move with a gain of time. You can't take the pawn. You'll have to see my webpage for that analysis. White continues on queen f4 here. I think the correct idea might have been to play queen g4. White's just under a lot of pressure here. I think it's to his advantage to go ahead and dump the queens, and that's probably what he should have done. But anyway, he played queen f4, king g7. That's a very good move there. Now that black's king is here and the f6 bishop has been protected, the f7 pawn has been protected by the king, so if the rooks get exchanged off, now black's plan is very simple. He's threatening ideas like queen b3 and rook d3 and bishop takes knight, just winning a pawn, and white's almost helpless to prevent those ideas. So basically black now has a very big advantage. He's got a big advantage, and his edge is growing because of white's inaccurate moves here. You know, white should have gotten the queens off the board. Now here white plays rook c1. This was a very bad move here. This was I have no idea what this virtually the losing move in my opinion. Not sure what the factor was. Clock, pressure. Just didn't analyze well, or he's trying keep pieces on, but queen g4 was the only move there. Rook c1 will almost lose the game by force. Continue on. Black plays a4. Now black once more does not find the best move. He plays a4, and this is bad because it gives the queen a b4 square. It's not a terrible move. In fact, black continues to have a large advantage according to the computer engines. But rook d2 is going to give black practically a one game there. And that rook penetration to the 7th rank, or white's second row here. In some lines, if the queen gets over here and combines on f2 square, the white king will be threatened with mate, and also white, Nakamura is looking at the possible loss of all of his queenside pawns. But anyway, that would have been an improvement over the game. White played a4. Now white plays queen b4, black plays rook d3. That's not a bad move. It's not a terrible move. Ramirez gives it an inferior or dubious appellation here. The correct move was bishop e7, and I spotted this move almost right away when I was going over the game. The idea is basically now kick the queen to a much worse square. In fact, I think the queen has to go to a5, and then black plays rook d3, queen b3, and rook d3, which is virtually just absolutely winning for black. And Ramirez, I don't know if he points that out, but he definitely gave rook d3 a question mark or a dubious, and that is the reason why bishop e7 was a substantial improvement over the actual game. But anyway, going back to the game, black just played the move rook d3 here, and now white's move is just absolutely suicide. I mean, at this point, his next move, I gave it a double question mark simply because it's just going to lose the game outright. He plays rook c2, and now the game is just lost. I mean, he's just losing his rook to another tempo. Now queen b3. I mean, now the end of the game is queen. All this is forced. The rook has to go back to c1. Bishop takes knight. You can't exchange rooks there. If you exchange rooks after rook takes c3, rook takes rook, and the rooks come off, and then this b pawn just runs in. So we had to take with the pawn. c5, king f1, c4. Now black has a protected pass pawn. This pawn on c3 is a perpetual target. King goes to e2. And now black just plays rook takes c3, which is a very nice move. This might surprise an amateur player, certainly to even a strong A player or even an expert. This is a fairly simple win here for black. It's like a chess problem, black to move and win. And the simple idea here is that if the white, if the white recaptures the rook here, b2, and black will promote another pawn because the white rook on c3 won't be able to play rook b3 simply because of c4 takes b3. And black is winning easily here, and at this point, Nakamura decides simply just to, abandon ship. I mean, this is a totally lost game, and there's not any sense of playing on here. And again, I will have an analysis of this game when the web page is finished. It's not finished yet. I've just begun formatting the page. But when that web page is finished, I will post a link to that web page on the show more part and also on my website. Anyway, thank you for watching my 3 videos here. I needed the extra time to try to cover the games in detail. But thanks for watching the videos, and have a great day.